Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Coded Bookworm. I am Jessie and today I will be doing the Booktube Newbie Tag. But before I do that, I'm going to give you guys a brief introduction into who I am. Maybe stick around. Let's see. So I'm 33 years old. I am working on becoming a software engineer. I also train dogs, which is something that I love. Dogs are great. I really think they are the best creature on planet Earth, and I'm totally biased, but that's what I think. I love working with dogs. I find them immensely easier than people. I specialize in high energy working dogs. You wouldn't think so because I have a disability. I have what's called cerebral palsy. Fuck, I fucked that up. I have cerebral palsy, and yeah, so cerebral palsy is essentially just a blood vessel burst on my brain, and the area it affects is directly correlated to what it affects in your body. So it can be as little as one limb, having difficulty, to like everything. You can't walk, you can't talk, anything. In my case in particular, I can't walk unassisted at this moment. But recently I went back to the same doctors who told me when I was younger that I would never walk, that there's no way that I won't now. It's just a matter of when. So yeah, they can suck it. I think you can pretty much chalk that up to me being stubborn or determined. It's however you want to look at it. I prefer determined. But, it is what it is. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell. I love reading. Obviously, I wouldn't be here. I love coffee. I love dogs. Okay, so now we're getting into the tag. I wanted to start this channel because of a few reasons. One of them is I want to build a community on here if possible. While I know people in my immediate circle that do read, they don't read quite as expansively as I do, and they tend to be very one genre. And I read a little bit of everything. So I hope to reach out to a wider community that I can talk about books with and, connect and engage with. The other reason is I just don't see a lot of disability representation here on YouTube or Booktube, either one. And there are a lot of misconceptions about disability that I would like to help break down if I can. And one of the biggest ones is that all disability is the same, and it just isn't. The disability experience is as varied as anything else. You can't really lump it together like that. But so yeah, I would like to help with that, and if my channel can do that, great, And it's also, taking a step out of my comfort zone for sure. Like, this is taking a lot, and I'm proud of myself for doing it. But I've never liked to be on video because of my disability. And, that might be why there's not as much representation, because other people might feel that way. Or they may not feel like they'll get as many views as the average person, or whatever the case may be. But I'm just on here to be authentic and to have fun and just see where it goes. So, yeah, that's the reason why I wanted to start. So what do I think I can bring to Booktube? In my opinion, this is probably the hardest question on the list to answer. And that is because there are already so many great booktubers. I've watched many of them for a very long time. Ashley over at Bookish Realm is beautiful. Noah over at Everyone Who Reads It Must Converse is probably the reason that I'm sitting here right now. Like, he encouraged me so much and pushed me to do it because he thinks that I could do it if I could just get over, the not loving being on video part. And I thank him for that. If I was pressed to say anything about what I think I could bring to Booktube, it would be that I think I have creative ideas, and I think that like I said before, the lack of representation in regard to disability. I mean, I live that lens, I live that. So I can bring that to the table as far as just having a fresh perspective and specifically showing people with disability that, like, hey, you can be scared and still do something. My anxiety is high right now, if I'm being completely honest with you. But it can be done, and that's what I think I can bring to Booktube, is just a diversity in what I'm reading, a fresh perspective, creative ideas, and just being authentic. I mean, that's all I can do, so. What am I most excited for? I'm not excited for any one thing in particular. I would say that I'm just excited to meet new people and see what it brings, building a community and just putting myself out there and being proud of myself for doing that. I know that's a short answer, but that's an honest answer. I just want to have fun, and I just want to see where it goes and meet new people. Hopefully most of everybody is nice. I'm not naive. I know there's going to be somebody that says something about the disability almost inevitably, but it is what it is. But yeah, just building a community, having fun, meeting new people, and stepping out of my comfort zone. Those are the things that I'm excited about. Why do I love reading? I love reading for so many different reasons. First and foremost, it gives you, a look into perspectives that you may otherwise never experience. You can only live your small, little, they call it fishbowl of experience. And books are a unique way of giving you insight into somebody else's world, into somebody else's life, into somebody else's thoughts, and what they experience, both good and bad. And it can create, understanding. It creates empathy. It creates compassion, hopefully. It just being exposed to new perspectives, I think, is vitally important when you're coming up, but it's becoming even more important, if you want my opinion, in the day and age that we're in now. I'm not trying to get political on anybody, but I think we need exposure to other perspectives and other, other worldviews, other opinions, other cultures, And I think reading is a unique medium to give us those things. And it's one of the reasons that I loved reading. Specifically when I was younger and I couldn't get around nearly as good as I can now. I really use reading as like an outlet to just experience the world. Because at that time I was kind of like I was an outsider looking in, sort of. Like I didn't get to have as much direct experience as like a young teen as the average person does. So I would watch and I would read and I would listen. And if you want my honest opinion, that kept me out of a lot of trouble that I probably would have been in otherwise. So, yeah, I think reading is important on a number of levels. I think it gives us access to perspectives, feelings, things like that we otherwise we're just stuck in our little fishbowl of experience. It's another reason why I think traveling is so good and important, which I have not yet got the opportunity to do in my life because of my disability. But I do want to. Like, I have the travel bug so bad. I know you guys didn't ask that, but that's just another little fun fact about me. But yeah, reading is good because it opens the mind. And when you're not growing, you're dying. What book series got me into reading? Honestly, I've read on and off my whole life, and but I gotten out of it for many, many years in my early teens because, like a lot of people, I think high school killed the fun of it, and I didn't get back into it till probably, I want to say, late 2015. But before that, I have a younger sister, so she was into Twilight, and I didn't know what that was at the time, and I had agreed to take her to the movies to see it because it fell on her birthday almost every year, maybe every year that it came out. So I went with her not knowing anything about it. I watched it with her, and then I had to come home and immediately binge the books. And I think that just rekindled, like, reading can be fun. Even though those books now, when you're an adult, are like littered with red flags. They're cute and they're fun when you're young, When you're older, you're like, I don't know if Edward or Jacob is, like, they're both problematic in their own ways. Like, you know what I mean? So, but no, as far as series, that would be the one. If I'm being entirely honest, I don't read series that often. But a vitally important book in my life has been, hold on, technical difficulty, The Little Locksmith by Catherine Butler Hathaway. Now, Catherine Butler Hathaway was not a writer per se. She was a young woman who wrote down her experience. It's been a while since I read it. I read it when I was about 17, but it's part of what I'm talking about when I talk about representation being important. Even though the disability that she had was completely different than what I have, it was the first time that I'd ever heard somebody say some things in their mind that were like some of the things that I had thought and never shared with anybody because I didn't think that anybody could understand them. Because I didn't have, even my siblings, none of them were disabled. So, like, they empathize, but they can't really understand past a certain point. So, that book was instrumental in showing me that you are not alone in the world, and it was one of the books that kind of rekindled my love for reading, and that, you know, somebody can be different from you but have similar thoughts and experiences. So, yeah, those are the two books that kind of really got me started back into it after I had fell out of it for a little while. Thanks to public high school education. And I think that's a common, a common critique. Good job. That would have been better like that. Good job. Okay, so in my opinion, this is probably the most interesting question on the list. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? And one of the biggest ones that I would ask is just, how in the hell do you get comfortable talking to yourself on camera? Like, I'm still not comfortable. I think I'm doing better, but when I first started doing it, it's like practice runs yesterday, I felt like a Looney Tune. Like, I was like, this is fucking weird. Like, for lack of a better term. So yeah, just, how do you get comfortable? Like, I don't know, there's questions about, like, what, I don't know. How do you react to negative comments that you might get would be another interesting one. Because listen, I'm sure that I'm going to get negative comments. I'm hoping that the majority of it will be positive, and I really want to believe that is how it will be, but I'm not naive either. But most people, I can just say, go jump in a lake, and that's the nice way of saying what I would say. But yeah, just, how do you deal with negative comments? How do you get comfortable? How do you give it a proper amount of time without it taking up all of your time would be another one. But yeah, just, those are my questions. What do I think will be the hardest or most challenging thing about Booktube? I think it will be difficult just for me to get over, my dislike of being on video because of my disability. But I think that'll go away with more videos that I do. Hopefully it will become, more fluid, and, I'll just get more comfortable naturally. I'm already more comfortable than I was when I started, so I feel like that's a good sign. The only other hard thing that I can really perceive is just finding the time, and then also, like I said, dealing with the negative comments when and if they do come. But yeah, I mean, coming up with creative ideas that a million people haven't done already would be one. But that's really all I've got for, like, the difficulties. When did I start reading? I'm afraid I kind of stepped on this one with a previous answer. I've always read on and off, but I got back into it seriously in late 2015, probably fall to be specific. But yeah, I've read on and off my entire life. It's just always been something. My grandmother reads, my mom read before she passed away. So yeah, I think it's just something natural to the women in my family. The men don't read for whatever reason, but we're trying. So. Okay, final two. If you've made it this far, thank you for sticking around. Much love. So where do I read? I read predominantly in my recliner, in my room. I don't deviate much from that unless I'm in the vehicle, in which case I use my Kindle. I don't use my Kindle very often. I much prefer a physical book. And I do not think that I think that's a common, I think a lot of readers feel that way. Not that there's anything wrong with e-reading. It takes some of the magic out of it. But yeah, that's where I read. What kinds of books do I read? Literally everything. That's not an exaggeration. I recently just finished The Count of Monte Cristo not too long ago. I most recently finished Watership Down by Richard Adams. And I am currently rereading through the Harry Potter series. I don't read a lot of fantasy, but I do read it. But I don't know if I can technically call that a reread, to be honest. When I was a kid and it first came out, I read through The Goblet of Fire. And then for whatever reason, on Order of the Phoenix, I read the first page and I was just like, nah. And I quit. And I haven't picked them up until now. And I'm actually on the Order of the Phoenix at the moment and almost through it. And it's really good. But I like that I hadn't really paid attention to the film adaptations before. I mean, I've seen them, but I hadn't paid a great deal of attention, so I don't feel like I, got anything ruined. Because I don't know, y'all tell me how you guys feel about this, but I don't like to watch a movie if I'm gonna read the book. The only way I will watch a movie is if I have no interest in reading the book whatsoever. Because even though the book and the movie are vastly different, we all know this, I will have no interest in reading the book because I know plot-wise everything that's going to happen. So, y'all let me know how you feel about that and if it's a common thing or if it's just a me thing and I'm weird. Because I take that. I'm fine with being weird. But yeah, y'all let me know. But yeah, I read a little bit of everything.